If you own a shop, this is the only podcast that's going to tell you the truth.
Welcome to the operator's table. What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the operator's table. I hope you guys had a great week. Myron, how did your week go? How was your week?
Man, I'll tell you, between the podcast and the three other businesses that I'm operating, and we're like in prime time right now, things are really picking up. It's hectic. I feel like I'm back in the day working 16-hour days again. I feel like early white glove days again. So it's been crazy for sure.
Yeah, same for me. The podcast, obviously, my regular job, and kids are going crazy. Kids are absolutely taking up so much of my time, but it's good. It's a good thing to have.
Yeah.
But my week's been good too. Getting ready to go out for the weekend, so we got some plans this weekend. So, yeah, staying busy. So Myron, what are we talking about this week?
Yeah. So, all right. Well, let's recap first on what we talked about on the last episode. Last episode, we had Kyle Naughton here from Showroom Service, which is a great friend of mine and also our detailer that we use through White Glove and also my personal detailer. And he gave us a lot of good insight from, an owner's perspective of someone who is stuck and is stuck doing everything within the business and not delegating these tasks out to their employees or getting managers. And I think it was a great episode to talk about that because a lot of people are stuck out there. And, I think that is a great episode to really kind of listen in on and relate to Kyle, who was sitting here, because not only he was in that position, but I was as well.
Right.
And, I feel like that's definitely a great lesson to be had for everything. And at the end of that episode, I teased marketing for this one. So this one, we're going to talk about marketing because if you want to have managers, if you want to have multiple employees to delegate these tasks to, you have to have a steady flow of work to feed work to these guys and ensure you have money to pay them. Otherwise, you're not going to have these guys in your shop.
Yep.
So how do we do marketing to ensure a steady flow of business? And that's what we're going to talk about today.
All right, let's get into it.
All right. So first, we're going to get into how we actually get customers today, speaking from what we do at White Glove Auto. What are we actually doing to get business in a day? Well, long story short, essentially all we do today is we do social media ads. That is across Facebook and Instagram. And then we do ads on Google. AdWords on Google is one of the biggest things out there you can possibly do for your business ever. But those are the two ad revenues that we actually go by in order to bring business into our shop on a regular basis.
So you mentioned Facebook, Instagram are your two social media platforms that you use. Why don't you use TikTok? Why don't you use other platforms? Why is it just Facebook? And Instagram?
I could be wrong on this, but this is my opinion. I think I look at social media and I put it into like generations. I feel like Facebook is an older generation. I feel like Instagram is like our generation. And I feel like TikTok is young generation.
Yeah.
Right? And so I think our primary audience, our primary customer, our ideal and likely buyer essentially is going to be Instagram and Facebook, not the 12-year-olds on TikTok or whatever. I'm not saying everybody on TikTok's 12-year-old. I'm just saying that's like the majority of what you see on there. And so I don't see it really playing out as.
Yeah, it's interesting because I know a bunch of well, I don't know. I don't use TikTok myself.
Yeah.
But you hear I don't know, even parents of our friends and stuff. I hear them like, oh, I was on TikTok, scrolling TikTok. So I guess there are some people who are kind of in the range for our customers in that age range
Yeah,
to be
and
our customer. Do use it, but probably it's not. It's definitely a big majority of it is
well, I'm
younger
going to be
kids.
clear on something too because we are on TikTok and we post on TikTok every day, just like all of our other socials.
Sure, you just don't push ads.
But yeah, I just don't put money into it
Right.
because I'm not trying to advertise to that younger
Yes.
generation.
Good point. Okay.
But I am trying to still get out there. And at some point,
Yep.
when I feel like it's relevant enough, I will actually start pushing ads on there. Um, I think it's a great ad platform for maybe for other industries,
Sure.
but not our
Yeah,
industry.
yeah. So for the people listening, TikTok could be a good place to run ads if you're trying to reach that kind of audience.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, we're looking for people who own cars. They're 18, years old or older. And typically, in our case, our ideal and likely buyer is usually between like 35 years old and like 55 years old,
Hmm.
like right in that area where like people are making money and
Yeah,
they're
they're starting to make
still,
money, and now they could
yeah,
now
they're
they
trying
have
to have
extra money. Yeah,
fun and yeah, they're not too old, they're not too young. It's just like that sweet spot for
yeah.
us, I
It
feel
makes
like.
sense. So also you mentioned Google and you mentioned keywords.
Yeah,
Um,
you said keywords.
yeah.
Uh,
So
I didn't mention keywords, but we can talk about keywords.
did you not mention keywords? I must be joking. What you mentioned Google
Google AdWords.
AdWords, not keywords, but keywords.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay,
Okay.
there we go. All right.
Keywords also important though. Okay.
Yes.
So Google. So you've also used Google.
Yeah.
Um, why Google?
Well, for one, and I've mentioned this before in another episode, but if you look at the statistics, right, Google gets in about 90 to 92% of total web searches across the internet. It's crazy. So, out of all the other search engines out there, Yahoo, Bing, all that other crap, they suck. Just put them aside. Google is like the master here, and they are getting the majority of the web traffic, web searches out there. So, when somebody is looking for your business, they're looking on Google. Okay. And so that is why AdWords is probably going to be your most important thing above all else because, when somebody is looking to have, let's say, oh, I want to have my window tint done, they're not
Right.
going to go on Facebook and search window tint Tulsa.
Right. Of
You
course not.
know,
Yeah.
they're going to go to Google and search window tint Tulsa.
And of course, you're also you have ads on Facebook. Or
Yeah,
no, yeah. So you if
I do. And
so that
see,
also if someone does use Facebook as like a primary way, hopefully that ad pops
well,
up.
and see, in social media, and I think that's a thing that a lot of people need to understand as well. Social media is a way to, it's like a, like more of like a passive ad, if that makes sense. Like Google is more for people looking for you, and you're just helping them find you. Social media is like you're putting yourself in front of people that
Yes.
probably wouldn't have been a customer
Makes
originally.
sense. Yeah, because I mean, what does everyone do when they want to find something? You search Google.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
become like a household name across the whole world.
Yes,
Is go on Google.
yes.
So that makes sense.
Yeah. So there's two different avenues there. Now, that is how we bring customers into our shop. That is what has worked the most for us throughout the years. That's all we do at this point in time. And before, in our previous years, we've tried other things,
So okay,
commercials,
that's what
and
I was going to ask you. Is you've obviously tried other things. What didn't work? You know what works.
yeah.
Let's talk about what didn't work.
Yeah, so I'll tell you that the number one thing I always thought was super cool. I was like, man, I would love to have a TV commercial one of these days. And I was like, I'm going to reach out and figure out how much it's going to cost. I can't remember the exact figure. I want to say it was right around 20 grand. I reached out to Cox Media, which, Cox is pretty big in our area. And I reached out to them. I was like, hey, I want to do a commercial. They said, okay, great. We're going to come out. We're going to send out a person. They're going to get your ID all together. They, of course, pumped it all up. Man, it sounds super cool. They're like, we're going to put you on whatever TV channel that you want to be on. And I chose like a lot of big ones like AMC and Discovery Channel and,
Sure.
all these different bigger ones that at the time there was Walking Dead. So I wanted to be on AMC.
Yeah.
Anyway, it all was like super cool. I was hyped about it. And I thought it was going to be a big thing. And, we spent somewhere around 20 grand or whatever on this commercial. We had a big film day. It was on a weekend. I had a bunch of supercars come out. And, man, it was a fun time shooting it for sure. And, after all this stuff, after all this excitement, and then it went live on TV, it was crazy to see it on TV. I was like, oh shit, our stuff is on TV. That's so crazy. And then about a month later, not a single person
You're like,
has
wait
come
a minute,
in.
where's all the business?
Yeah, like where is everybody at?
Yeah.
Like I thought this was gonna like flood my business with people, and not a single
And nobody.
person.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that was kind of heartbreaking at the time because I pretty much spent every dollar I had on that, and I didn't even pay it all in one lump sum. I had to pay it in payments, and it was a
How many
complete nightmare.
years ago was this?
Man, dude, that was probably I want to say that's probably 2017, 2018.
Okay.
Yeah,
So pre-COVID.
yeah,
Yep.
pre-COVID. Yeah,
Yep.
crazy.
No money. What else? What else is there? I mean, surely you must have tried other
Yeah,
things.
so we tried mailers, right? We put
What is mailers?
mailers are like the little postcards that you make, right? You go to like Vista Print or whatever, you have a little postcard designed for you, whatever advertisement we have on there,
Sure.
and then you
I
can go
get
to
those on my door.
yeah, you can go to like or you get them in your mailbox.
Yes. Yeah.
So my method was mailbox.
That's it. Yeah.
And so I went to the USPS, and I basically you can choose what neighborhoods, what USPS routes that you want it to deliver to, and they can let you sort by like highest income neighborhoods and all that stuff. It's
Sure.
kind of cool, and so that's what I did. And
Did you just
again,
realize that people just like scrumped it up, threw it in the trash instantly? Like no one even looks through that.
yep,
Like you go through your mail and you go through junk mail. Like okay, you can tell what's in like an ad for a
yep.
bank for whatever.
It was another one of those things that
Yes.
was just like it never worked. It never.
Was that an expensive thing? Expensive lesson?
I would say not like the TV commercial,
Sure.
but I think I want to say it cost me like $5 or $6 or something like that
Okay.
to get out there.
How many people did you reach out to for $5 or $6?
I really can't.
Were you like
remember. That was-
thousands? Are we like
oh yeah, I
multiple,
mean it was
many?
like tens of thousands of people.
Okay.
But it's junk mail. People just toss that shit.
Did it
in the
did it
trash.
get you any work at the time, or was it like absolutely?
I
nothing?
actually I again don't think that even brought us in a single thing. If it brought me in business, I would remember that.
Sure.
So I don't think that actually did anything.
Or like a significant.
Like I know the
amount, at
TV
least.
commercial didn't bring anything in because that was a big heartbreak for me. I was like, dude, I spent all that money and not a single person.
Yeah. You just get a
the-
really cool video to look back on.
Yeah.
That's
The mailers, on the other hand, it wasn't as big of a heartbreak
Sure.
because it just wasn't as much money, and I also kind of was like skeptical about it at the same.
But you also don't get to see it. The TV commercial, like you can watch yourself.
Yeah, right.
Versus this is sent out and you forget about it.
Yeah, which is the same thing for like Val packs and stuff like that. None of that works. Val packs usually go in the trash. Like for instance, my wife Kristen, she actually likes looking at Val packs. She'll open them up, but I mean, 99.9% of the time, those go in the trash.
What
Like
are
even
they?
after she looks
Give
through
me
them.
like a quick,
Valpak.
yeah, like
A
quick
Valpak
summary.
is an envelope. It's a company. The company's called Valpak.
Okay.
It's an envelope that you get in the mail, and then when you open it, it's got about, I don't know, 20, 30 coupons on there, front and back, of all these different companies advertising their deals. And so you're like sitting there thumbing through all these deals and seeing if anything pertains to you that you might want.
Got it. Makes sense.
And majority of people throw it away. Some people thumb through it and they're just like, they're like real quick,
So you were like, so White Glove Auto was just one of those like flick throughs in that whole stack of other brands.
For me, we actually didn't do Valpak. I'm just saying that Valpak is another similar form
gotcha.
of mailers that aren't going to work,
Gotcha.
in my opinion.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. That makes
So
sense.
we never tried that. We also tried, there was a company here in town. This is not like a national brand that I know of, but it was called like Monster Ads. And essentially, you would pay them monthly and they would put your ads like, they would go around to like stores and try to put your logo or your ad or whatever on the back of like store receipts and stuff. They'd try to work a deal with stores and stuff to do that. We did do that. And I can't remember what store it was for. I want to say it was a couple country marts that were here in town and then like a CVS or something like that. Because, CVS, when you go there, you get like a 20-mile receipt every time,
Yes.
right?
20's being nice.
Yeah.
20's. That's giving them some, some leeway.
Yeah. They go through like a roll of paper every time they get printed receipt
It seems
out.
like it. It's like memes about it and stuff. It's posted everywhere. Yeah.
None of that worked because nobody really looks at the back of a receipt. Again, a receipt's usually something that gets crumbled up, tossed in the trash. Who
Yeah.
looks on the back of it for a logo, right?
No.
I also tried the neighborhoods where it's like they usually have an HOA person or something like that in the neighborhood, and they're like, hey, we have a neighborhood magazine. We'd love to have you in our magazine because we don't have anybody that does window tint or we don't have anybody that does XYZ, right?
Yep.
And then I've done that a couple of times, complete garbage, still no results. And and I will say too, because some people out there might be thinking like, well, maybe it's the ad that you put in there sucked. Well, I mean, I did different ads on each thing here. I didn't do the same ad on every single thing that I tried. I tried to change it up every time to make it more exciting. I did good deals. I mean, I did up to like 20% off on some of this stuff, and 20% is a pretty big deal. Um, so anyway, these are some of the ad revenues that I tried that just were garbage.
Okay, so that's kind of those are your learning. Those are your building blocks. You're kind of you learn as you go. You try
Yeah,
different things. So let's get into more in depth of okay, how did you try all these things? You notice they're not working, and you're like, okay, I need to bring money in. I need
yeah.
business. What was your next step? What did you kind of how did you start the ascent down the right path?
Down. Okay, so like basically, what when I found what worked
Yeah.
and why I stuck with it, kind of thing.
Yeah, like how did you know or what did you do and what was your first steps towards changing your direction of
Yeah.
how you're gonna market?
Well, I'll tell you the first thing that we started doing very beginning was AdWords. We tried Google AdWords right off the bat, right before the commercial, before anything. And even that at the time was questionable to me. I was just like, man, I don't know if we're really getting the money out of this. We were spending like, I don't know, $500 or $1,000 a month on this.
So back it up. So like how did you know to go to Google? Like how did you set it up? Where did you get
Well,
this
at the
info?
time,
What
this
did you
was actually through my dad. So my dad was, trying to help me out. He wanted to like get my name out there, and he
Yeah.
was like, "Man, I think you should be on Google." And he kind of told me why, and I was like, "Well, yeah, it makes sense. People use Google." And at that time, 12 years ago, Google had like statistically, I believe it was like 75 or 80% of the market at that time. They've grown
Still a
since
huge
then.
portion.
Oh yeah. And so my dad kind of pushed me into that, and he was like, "I set everything up. I'll do everything." And you know, obviously that was a big help. But after like a year or so, it was kind of like, man, I don't know if it's really working or not. It says we're getting these clicks, but are these clicks actually turning into ads or turning into work? I'm not really sure. That was an owner problem. That was a me problem. That because I wasn't asking people either at that time. This is so early on.
Asking
Google,
people what? Are you referring to like how did you hear about us kind of
yeah,
questions?
yeah, exactly. Google was like the first thing we started with when we started doing ads, and I didn't know anything about business at the time. I didn't know that I should ask people, "How'd you hear about us?" so that I
Sure.
can track how
Yeah.
they heard about us, right, or where they came from.
Mhm.
So I had no clue if Google was working or not, and I was skeptical about it, and I almost stopped doing it.
Did you not see like a rise in sales though? Like, okay, you went on Google and now, okay, this month we did this much after
That's where a
starting.
lot of business owners get discouraged because they're trying to figure out ads for themselves for their own shop and see what works. And I think that a lot of people, because AdWords is complicated, it's more complicated than you think. There's a lot to it. And whenever you go in and you create a Google ad, if it's not optimized properly, they're going to just spend your money. And obviously, Google's going to try to call you. The representatives are try to call you. They're like, "No, you're not wasting your money. It's going to this or X, Y, Z." They're going to do whatever they can to tell you you're not wasting money. Obviously, they want to keep you as a customer, right?
Yep.
Don't listen to them. Never listen to them. I don't even take calls from them. They call my phone all the time. I don't even answer their call because I don't want to talk to them because I know what works and what they're going to tell me. Doesn't work, I'm not going to do it. But essentially, these guys just go into Google AdWords and they set up an account, and it walks you through. It gives you instructions like do this, do this, do this. And if you do all of that, what it tells you to do, your ads are not going to be optimized. You're going to spend a ton of money. You're not going to get hardly any business. And I think that's where we were at when we started with AdWords and why I didn't feel that great about it
Hmm.
because it wasn't optimized. We didn't really know about like keywords and trying to get things more optimized for certain keywords and like certain areas of the city that we're in and all that stuff. So we kind of we learned that as the years went on. I think it was probably honestly 3 or 4 years in when our Google AdWords actually started to like pay off when we were actually starting to get a good amount of revenue in from Google. And I'm not trying to discourage people like, oh, it's going to take me 4 years to get to that point. No, it's not. You just need to, you got to talk to somebody who's not like an ad company.
Who
Because,
knows how to
yeah,
navigate?
yeah, an ad
Yeah.
company, like any ad company, not just Google. Because there's people out there who be like, oh, I can run your Google ads for you or whatever. Man, I don't know. I'm leery about all that. I worked with a company like that too in the very beginning. and it was garbage. It was the same thing as Google. They're just trying to spend your money,
Yeah.
right? Because the more money you spend, the more money they make, and that's essentially what it comes down to.
Yep.
And so anyway, I just stay away from that. I try to talk to people who I know personally who has worked with AdWords within their own business and knows what they're doing, and I've tried to use that as my guide for AdWords. And I think that anybody else should do that, is try to talk to people that they know are business owners that maybe use Google Ads and get their input on it, and don't talk to an ad company.
Yeah, and I could definitely tell that you working and navigating around Google and figuring out the most efficient way to spend your money on Google. You could definitely see that payoff even now in the
Yeah.
shop. You could, I mean, part of our script now for our sales team, right? A big part of that, or right at the beginning of that script, is how'd you hear about us?
Yeah.
And we have so many people
Yeah.
that, hey, Google, I Googled you. I mean, it's
Yeah.
it's what everyone says now, right? Everyone goes on Google.
Yeah.
Everyone uses it, and also that's a place where you can, if your ads pop up, now they look into your company and they see your Google reviews, and hopefully that's something you're keeping up with as business owners, because that's important.
Yeah.
But yeah, so many people, will tell us that, hey, I heard about you on Google.
Yeah.
I looked you guys up. You guys popped up. So
Yeah.
it's definitely paying off.
Yeah.
I mean,
And I can't remember the exact number off the top of my head without going in and actually looking at our numbers, but I feel like, like right now, even when people ask me, like, what do you do for advertising and how much do you spend? I tell them about Google, because usually that's what they're asking about, is Google. And I'm like, well, I spend between like $4,000 and $5,000 a month. And I do roughly $200,000 a month in revenue, and I get roughly 60 to 80 leads a week, and about 80% of that is from Google Ads. And people are like, oh, how do you only spend that little amount on Google Ads, but you get so much business? Well, again, it's because we've spent so many years optimizing our ads to work as efficiently as possible, because there's a lot of people out there that'll spend 3, 4 times that much money to get the same amount of revenue as we are. And so I think that is really a big thing that people need to understand with Google, is that you have to make sure that your Google ads are just efficient, and they're a machine, so.
let me ask you a question. So SEO, a lot of people probably heard that term, or maybe who are looking into doing ads have heard that term.
That's actually a good thing that you just brought up, because so I kind of lied. I said the two marketing, or the two ad sources that we do is social media and Google. I didn't think about SEO. I do have an SEO company, and they are local, so that is another form of marketing that I'm doing.
Oh yeah.
So
why don't you explain what it is?
Yeah.
SEO. What does it stand for? What does it mean? How has it helped you?
Yeah, SEO really is search engine optimization, right? Again, ties into Google. You got to figure out, how can Google find me? And how can I get Google to recommend me, right? Because you have all these different shops that do what you do in your area, and Google's going to pick out the best shops it can see on, like, through its algorithm, and it's going to present them first on the Google page, right? They're looking for best reviews, who's been in business the longest, who has the most information about that particular keyword that somebody typed into Google.
That right there is it.
That right there is search engine optimization. And so our website, for instance, I think we have somewhere around it's got to be more than that. I don't know, 25,000, 30,000
much.
pages of
It's actually
content.
very funny for the people who are interested.
Yeah,
If you go on WhiteGloveAutoTulsa.com
yeah,
and you scroll to the bottom, and there's articles, right?
yeah,
And if you click on those articles and you read through them, you're gonna get a laugh, because
yeah,
it is literally a bunch of nonsense.
yeah,
But it has those
Yeah.
keywords repeated over and over and over.
yeah,
It's literally, people will sit there who have no knowledge on the work we do, but they understand. I mean, they read like the stuff that we do, our services, and they know they have to, right? They know they have to say certain keywords.
yeah,
And they talk into their headset, and
Yeah.
it types up all this gibberish
yeah,
that makes no sense when you actually read it. But what it's doing is implementing all those
Yeah.
keywords. Those articles are on our website, which is what Google uses as their website.
yeah.
And it can pick up all these keywords.
Yeah,
Oh,
precisely. And,
right?
essentially it's, every article, because to go with Google canonical rules is, they want to have like 1,000 words of content on the page. And then they want to see the keyword within that article at least 10 times. and the gibberish that you talk about in that article has to do with that keyword in some way,
Correct. Yeah.
and so that is what an article is, and we have 25 to 30,000 of those pages, and we've formed over many years of doing this now.
So obviously you're not doing this yourself. This is something that you're paying out. This is marketing
Yep.
money.
There's a local company here
Yep.
that I work with that does this for me.
Yep.
And I've actually worked with the company for a while, but they do all of this SEO. They're the only person who's ever touched our SEO. And, if you go, like if you're, Google works by location. So if you're in New York and you're trying to test what I'm saying right now, you're not going to search Google and type in Expel and then we pop up. But if you're in Tulsa and you type in Expel, White Glove Auto is going to pop up at the top of the page for Expel. There's not Expel Tulsa, it's not Expel White Glove Auto, it's
And that's
Expel.
because those articles have the word
Yeah.
expel a bajillion times.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's
So
what makes
and
it
it's
pop.
like you want to rank for these broad term keywords, essentially is what they're called. And the more that you do that, the easier it is for Google to want to recommend you and find you within its system.
Right, right. And you mentioned Expel as one, but there's Expel Tulsa, there's PPF, Window
Yeah.
Tint Tulsa, whatever it is.
Yeah.
You use a bunch of different keywords.
Oh, yeah,
You're trying to maximize what people can possibly type in
Yeah, for instance, like
for the work they want.
window tinting Tulsa, window tinting Broken Arrow, window tinting Owasso, window tinting whatever, right? I'm doing every city, everything, because usually what people do when they search for things is they want to search the city and what they're looking for.
Right, something local to them.
Yeah.
Yep.
So that is what we do as far as our keywords go to be able to rank and for Google to find us. And that's how you stand out in like a sea of competition that you have. Because I'll tell you right now, a lot of companies out there won't put the money in that they need to buy this sort of SEO. And you don't even have to pay for it. You don't have to pay anybody to do it. If you as an owner want to actually put in some work every week, you make the content yourself. You write 1,000 fucking word article. Don't have AI do it because Google will pick up on it. It'll know if it's AI.
I feel like that's a very important thing right now because
Yes.
AI is everywhere.
Yeah.
Make that very clear. AI, you're saying you do not have AI write you these articles.
Yeah.
Google will
Google
know.
obviously has an algorithm that detects AI. It's getting bigger. It's one of those things where Google detects AI and it'll actually make things worse for you. It'll push you down further because now it just thinks that, the content is not original and it thinks that you're just copying from somebody else. It's not your stuff. It's going to push you further down in the ranks because it sees you as not recommended because this is not original content from you.
Yeah, for those of you who don't know or haven't messed with Google Ads or Google in general as a business owner, they're very strict in everything they do.
Yeah.
So they're very thorough. They want to make sure everything's legit, nothing's AI or nothing's you're not whatever it is. They're in their reviews and they're like you said for SEO and their keywords and those articles they're just
Yeah.
they're very pure. They want the most pure content, the most legitimate stuff on
Well,
their site.
Google's trying to provide a service that's honest
Right.
and truthful, right? To just everybody that's searching for
Yeah.
a product or a service within their area. And Google's reputation is on the line. Obviously, they're going to lose people if they're recommending crappy businesses.
Right.
So they're trying to rank the best of the best at the top of the
Yeah.
page.
Yep. And it's your job as the business owner to do everything in your power to rank at the top, and you want to do it in the most legitimate way so Google does push your business.
Yes.
So
And there's a lot of canonical rules that Google has that you must follow in order to, play nicely with Google.
where do you find
essentially.
these? Where do you find the rule book?
It's not published. It is very hard to figure this out. Okay, so the SEO company I work for, they have direct contacts with Google. They've called Google so many times. They've talked to so many people, and these people are trained not to tell you the rules because they change the algorithm all the time. So one rule that they tell you now could actually be different next week. So it's always changing, and they do that for a reason because Google realizes that people catch on to things, so they have to change things to make sure that people are staying honest in what they're doing and that nobody's cheating and taking advantage of the system. That's why, again, you have to make sure that you got original, real content from you, right? It's not AI content. It's not copied from somebody else. because that's what they're going to reward the most is original content.
Okay, makes sense. Since we're talking about Google, real quick, on Google, obviously Google reviews is a big thing. How have our Google reviews as a company helped us and the importance of it?
Yeah, this also kind of ties into marketing as well. It's a free type of marketing, right?
Well,
It's almost like a word of mouth,
right.
essentially. And this is something that is crucial for everybody. You have to have reviews. Really, you want to look in your city where you're at. You want to find who's the highest rated and most reviewed person in your town for doing what you're doing. And then you want to set a goal to triple their reviews. So if somebody's at 200, you need to be at 600, because Google doesn't want to see somebody who's just a little bit over somebody else. They want to see somebody who's way over somebody else to rank you at top, especially if they've been in business longer than you. And so that's going to be a huge thing. One of the biggest things that we hear at White Glove when we're on the phone,
Oh
and
yeah.
you can even hear it in the calls when you listen to them.
Oh yeah.
They always say, "Hey, we called you because of your Google reviews." Well, White Glove Auto has 1,500 Google reviews, and not a single one is bought. All of it's legit. It's not like people blame us or like try to accuse us of buying reviews and doing these review services online or whatever it is. We have never done that. We will never do that. And that is a quick way, because Google can catch that. Whenever you go to Fiverr.com and you pay somebody $100 to leave you 1,000 reviews or something like that, typically Google can see that because it's coming from like one IP address, right? To be authentic, each review has to come from its own IP address. And you're not going to have 1,000 devices laying around your house. And if you do, maybe, I don't know what
That's
you're
a
doing,
weird
but that's a
person.
weird thing. Well, let's not get into that. But essentially, it's like when Google sees that it's coming from a different IP address every time, it knows that it's a real thing because it's different from every time that it's being submitted. And so all of our reviews are legit. And but some people too out there are like, well, how do you get so many reviews? How'd that even happen? Ask. You
You
have to ask.
you have to have a sales team that knows how to ask those questions from
Yeah.
customers, and not just ask. If you truly want to grow your reviews, you have a sales team who almost implies that it's going to get done. You
Yeah.
almost ask in a way where the customer's not going to say no, and that's a skill. That's
Yeah.
a skill.
Yeah.
That's not an easy, like, if you just ask, most people are just by default going to say no. You have to have a technique as a salesman.
Let's
in
talk
a
about this
company.
for a minute,
Sure.
because this is actually interesting. Because a lot of people, I see a lot of this in rap groups, tent groups, the XPEL group that we're in on Facebook. Actually, I seen one earlier today where somebody was asking, "Hey, how do you guys get so many reviews?"
No.
And this is a common thing, I feel like. And again, you just have to ask. And a lot of people don't want to ask because they feel like maybe it's awkward or whatever it is. Well, I'm going to tell you that the situation is only as awkward as you make it. Okay? I'm going to say that one more time. The situation is only as awkward as you make it. Don't make it awkward. Okay?
Yeah.
And it won't be. You have to just make it seem like it's the system, it's the flow, it's what you do. Don't hesitate. Don't talk lower. Don't seem like you're not confident whenever you're asking. You got to do all this stuff, and you also need to make sure you catch the customer when they're in their most excitement, which is usually right when they're seeing their vehicle. And our system is always like, hey, while you're here sitting at the front desk waiting to pay, I'm going to pull up all your information while I'm doing this. Here's our QR code to our Google review. If you can just please scan it, leave us an objective Google review. Let us know how we honestly did, and put whatever you want in there. And that gives them an opportunity to fill like an awkward silence gap as you are getting their stuff ready, essentially, right?
Yeah, it's a skill set.
It is. It
It is a
really
skill
is.
set
It is
that
a
you
skill.
need.
You have to practice it.
And you have to, if you're a company who has, salespeople up front. If it's not, I mean, especially if you're the owner, I guess. But if you have other people, in that position that they're checking out customers, you need to make that part of their routine with every customer, because that grows your
Yeah.
reviews, that grows your business.
And this is for White Glove, right? And I understand that the majority of shops out there aren't exactly, at this level, and I'm not trying to sound egotistical here when I say that. I realize what, what kind of shop we have, and it's like we spent so many years now to where we never really made Google reviews or testimonials and stuff like that a part of the job where it was like a requirement that you had to do this stuff because um, I don't know. I just felt like it was something that we shouldn't have done. Like it's too pushy or it's too weird. I don't know. But we actually recently made it with our new sales process that we just implemented here in the last couple of weeks to where it's now a requirement of the job. Like if you take on this position, you're knowing that you have to get Google reviews and testimonials every week on a consistent basis.
Yeah, make that very clear. If you're the person hiring these new people, you make it very clear to them. It's like
Yeah.
if you want to continue working here, this is a requirement.
Yeah.
It's not an option. We don't debate it. We
Yeah.
don't. It is what it is. You
Yeah.
need it to work here, and that's gonna help.
And for those people out there, it's like, well, if you do that, then aren't you afraid that they're going to get fake reviews and they could potentially put your Google account at risk? Yes, that is always a fear. But you have to monitor the guys as closely as possible because again, there's FCC guidelines now that came out like I want to say a year and a half ago, and there's Google rules as well. If Google knows that, like if you are incentivizing, if you're paying for Google reviews, if you're giving the customer something in exchange for a review, anything like that, that is not good. Okay, I'm going to give you an example. There's somebody I know that put out there like, "Hey, I'm going to give you a free Chick-fil-A sandwich for a review. If you give me a review, you get a free Chick-fil-A sandwich." And he did that. He got a lot of reviews. Somebody, I think, reported him or whatever it was. I don't know how or what that looked like, but essentially Google caught wind of that and they removed all of his reviews and marked his business as closed on Google. Right?
Crazy.
That Google has too much power. Right? If Google marks your business as closed on Google,
You're screwed.
oh, that that is so detrimental, especially if your business mainly gets most of its revenue from Google.
Right.
Um, and so that is why you have to also play by the rules and make sure you're doing things honestly and having organic, real reviews. You also, I talked about FCC rules or laws, and they made this a thing in like late 2024, I want to say, where basically they're trying to combat fake and bot reviews, right? Basically saying that if you're caught buying fake reviews, if you're caught asking people for 5-star reviews only, if you're caught paying customers for reviews, then the FCC can fine you. I think it's $50,000 for each or each breach of that law.
That is crazy.
Yes, and so that's a huge thing. So again, it's very important because I hear a lot of people do this as well, where they're asking for 5-star reviews. Stop doing that. Stop doing that. Okay, I don't know if there's any leniency there. I don't know how seriously they're taking the law, but you better play it, safe, right? And just do what you're supposed to do. You can't even ask for a 1-star. You cannot ask, hey, give me a 1-star review. That is still against FCC laws. You can't ask for any specific star rating. You just have to ask for an
It's got to
objective
be
Google
objective.
review.
Yeah. Just be honest.
Yeah,
And then you, as an owner, or if you're in management, like you need to make sure your shop's doing what they should be doing, and then you'll
yeah,
get your 5 stars.
yeah. You should not be. If you're doing what you're supposed to be doing as a shop and you're delivering to that customer exactly what they wanted or
Just,
above and
just tell them to
beyond,
be honest.
then yeah, it should be very easy. Just like, hey, can you please leave me a review? Because it's very hard for people who are happy to want to leave a review. Very easy for people who are pissed to leave you a review.
Oh yeah.
And so it's like you have to, and it sucks that we have to do that, but you have to ask for those Google reviews
Yep.
because that's just how the society is. They're not going to leave you a review if they are happy with everything. It's just not how it goes.
Yep. So when we talk about marketing as a whole and kind of how it helps grow the business, there's got to be topics on marketing that people have different views on. It maybe something works for one company and it doesn't work for another, and they kind of naturally fall into what works for them. And some people, I'm sure, don't see eye to eye in the whole marketing
Yeah.
thing. What are some things that people don't see eye to eye on? What are some things that people will kind of disagree with each other? Is there any kind of like
I think I mean, there's people out there who are completely against Google ads. They're completely against social media ads.
Is
And they might say, like, that doesn't work, whatever. It's a waste of money. And I think people who see it that way are probably either people who have heard bad stuff from somebody else, or they've tried it themselves and they didn't get good results, so they just deem it as bad.
is
Eh,
that because they're not using it correctly?
I would say so. It's 100% about how you actually use their ad system to advertise for you. You can't just make any boring ad. You have to make something that is attractive and that sounds good and that provides information, because when somebody is searching for you, they're not trying to beat around the bush. They just want to the point. What do you do? What do you offer? What can you give me? That's what everybody wants to know, right? And so if you have that in the meat of your ad, that is what's going to stand out to those people.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
You can't have an ad that
Yeah,
says, "Oh, White Glavato does XPEL paint protection film."
sure.
Okay.
Okay, well, let me ask you this then. So, because this actually applies to me as well, because I recently just started a separate company myself that I'm
Yep.
doing kind of on the side, a weekend thing.
Yep.
Um, and I'm in the middle right now of posting ads on social media, on Facebook
Yeah.
and Instagram. And for those of you who know, you'll understand what I'm saying. For those of you who haven't posted any ads, when you go on social media and you build an ad, it'll ask you questions like Facebook. It'll be like the age range you're trying to hit and how you want people to contact you. Whether that's you want to receive more calls, you want to receive website visits, you want to receive messages. What's the best option for people to pick? So I guess a two-part question. One is, what kind of ad do you put out? I mean, what do you want people to see? Is it an image with some information? Is it a video of a person or of you talking or whoever explaining your business and what you offer? And also, what's the best way to get contacted? What's worked for you? What do you want? Messages? Do you want phone calls? Do you want website visits?
Yeah.
What do you look for? What has worked for you?
Well, I can tell you, like on social media, right? Man, there's several different things here. One, you want to have the path of least resistance. So no matter what ad you choose, video, pictures, text, whatever it is, right? You want to have the path of least resistance. You want to make it as easy as possible for that customer to reach out to you. If you make it to where your ad goes to your website and then they have to go on your website and then find a form to fill out, that's too much work. That takes too long. Nobody's going to do that. Okay. What you want is very easy, a very easy way for them to reach out. So for Facebook and Instagram, it's a message button, because that just opens up their messenger. It's within the same app, essentially, same platform. They just hit message, they send you a message real quick, done. They go right back to the scrolling on social media. They don't have to go to the website and fill out a form. They don't have to jump through hoops or whatever. Also, there's an option for them to just call you directly. You can have a call button, and then it says, you hit that, the phone number pops up, you hit call. Nobody's gonna do that.
Now, what about companies though that their website is where they want people to go because that's like where you book a job or where it gives you all the info, or some people will fill out there'll be a section on the website where you fill out your info and then it messages them to their software. If you're saying that it's you don't want people to you want less hoops to jump through.
Yeah.
But if they call you or message you, you're going to direct them to the website anyway, for example. Isn't that just an extra hoop though?
So there's two things here, right? Kind of like for White Lovato and for your business being a water rental business, right?
Yep.
It's two different industries. And I think where for you, it might be better to go to like a website, because you have your whole booking form on there. There's prices on there, everything.
Yes.
But I think even with that being said, my personal opinion is that you can sell better if you can get them to call you, right?
Yeah.
So you get them on the phone and then you make the sell and you walk them through your website while you're on the phone with them.
Makes sense.
That way, then that you ensure the sale's being done and that they're not being confused on anything. You walk them through everything and you ensure the job gets
Yeah, because I
booked.
guess you can't assume that someone's going to your website and just book.
Yeah,
You need to sell them on it.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. I mean, anybody can go to a website and read what a website says, But a lot of times, if you can get them on the phone and then you treat them right as a salesperson or an owner or whatever,
Sure.
and you make them laugh, make them feel good, whatever it is, they're going to be more likely to buy from you at that point.
Now, what about the automotive industry?
Same thing.
For same
Yep.
thing.
Same exact thing. It's we want to get them on the phone. That's the first thing to do. Now on our website, for instance, we have forms on there, and those forms submit right into our CRM system. But the first thing that we do, the moment that one of those forms come in, we're not replying back to that email. We're going to call them.
Yeah.
First thing we do is call because a call is going to give you a better outcome. We don't text them first. We don't email them back first. We call them first. They don't answer. Then we text them. Okay. And then if they don't answer that, then we'll send an email. Right. And then we keep doing that in a row until they finally reach out. But usually we will get them by phone call.
Now, do you post? I guess when you're marketing on social media for your company, are you going out and posting on Facebook separately and then on Instagram separately, or are you combining those two?
Well, so like Instagram, for instance, and Facebook has this too, but I find it's better to post on Instagram because they offer better tools and it's easier to do. I feel like on Instagram, where if you post on Instagram, it'll have like a little toggle switch that you can turn on to where it says like post to Facebook as well. So when you hit post on Instagram, it just shares to Facebook at the same time, the
Right.
same exact post.
So it's not really a whole lot of work. It's really
No,
just building that
very
ad
easy.
and it goes out to both platforms at the same
Yeah,
time.
exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, and for Meta, I mean, I definitely recommend going doing all their platforms, which they do. They advertise on Messenger, they advertise on Facebook, Instagram. All their Meta platforms is where your ad's going to go essentially when you advertise with Meta.
What have you found to work for you though? Because I know we've done ads, video ads before.
Yeah.
We've done just pictures showing
Yeah.
pricing, general pricing, starting pricing.
So I feel like, times are evolving, obviously. Our earlier on ads for social media were always pictures. With like we would put like a caption or text in at the top in the main meat of the post, and then you had the pictures like things that look good, cars that look cool, things that would catch attention, and those actually did really really well for us. But as the years go on, I feel like people's attention spans get shorter and shorter, and I think right now it's like if you can't capture somebody's attention within 8 seconds, then you're not going to get them. Your ad's a waste essentially. So now it's like, how do you catch somebody's attention within 8 seconds? Well, the best way to do that is usually by video, because somebody isn't going to like read your thing anymore. They're looking for like constant motion, interaction, like
Well, and
stuff
you
happening on
could
your
also put
screen.
enthusiasm in there, right? I
Yeah,
mean, you could be yelling in the microphone,
yeah. Look at Mr. Beast,
right?
right? I mean, the moment he starts out any video, he's like yelling. It's super catchy, and
And it's
he
quick.
hooks you in.
Yep, and there's no dead time. It's all
Yeah,
like one thing after
yeah,
the other.
pay attention to what he does in that first 8 seconds of his video because that is like essentially how you should be in your videos. And you need to bring that energy. You need to bring that excitement. You need to really have like a killer, like whatever it is. If you're doing a deal, whatever it is, you need to have that all within that 8 second period and make it super exciting.
Yeah, so you find that to be a big key then.
Yeah. So right now, I feel like video ads are more of a hit than pictures used to be back in the day.
Yeah.
And if you look at our content now, all of our content is videos. We hardly, very rarely even post a picture anymore. And it kind of sucks because I think pictures provide a different perspective and it really gives like a nice, a better, I don't know, look at things in
Hmm.
my opinion, but maybe I'm just old school. I don't know. But videos just, they provide more animation, more motion on the screen. It catches attention better. And that's just the way things are going now, I feel like. So pretty much everything that we post is always video. And when we do ads, yeah, it's essentially either me or you, right? In
Right.
the ad, and we're trying to catch somebody's attention right off the
Yeah,
bat.
yeah. We're trying to provide as much info in a short amount of time with enthusiasm
Yes,
to capture them. Because
yes.
yeah,
You have to be captivating. That's the thing.
people these days are just attention spans are very short.
Yes, you cannot sound boring. You can't sound like a history teacher. You have to bring the energy.
Yep.
I always tell that to my sales team is, it's like you can be however you want to be as a person. If you don't talk, if you talk low outside in your normal life or whatever it is, well, whenever you come into the shop and it's time to turn on that sales mode, it's showtime essentially. It's just like an actor out there who's playing in a movie. The part they're playing in the movie is not how they are as a person. it's completely different. They know it's showtime. That switch flips in their head, and now they're a completely different person.
And that's how you have to be when you're setting up your marketing ads,
Yep.
just like that.
Yep.
How often are you advertising? How often should companies advertise, or and how often are you switching your ads to a different video or a different picture?
Yeah, so like right now for social media, it changes, right? Social media, we have 3 ads right now, and they're actually picture ads. And these ads are constant ads that float around. They've been going around for months now,
Yeah.
and they're going to keep floating around. There are consistent ads that we run on Facebook. Now, when we want to do something even crazier, a bigger discount, like a short time span on something or whatever, we do a video, we really blast it out there, and it's different every time, right? We're not running the same ad every time when we do something like that. The only ads that are the same are essentially the ones that we always keep floating around, because realistically, one thing you need to keep in mind is you want to make sure that your brand name gets put in front of somebody's face at least 7 times. That's like the scientific number where I guess somebody remembers your logo is after they see your brand 7 different times. And so we have ads that are floating around on Facebook constantly. And anybody who's searching for automotive stuff, our stuff is always popping up on their feed, and they're going to remember White Glove Auto at some
Let
point.
me ask you this, because we have ads. We have a paint protection film ad, we have a window tint ad, and we have
Yep.
a ceramic coating ad. Those are the ones you're referring to that are always going
Yes.
around. Those 3 ads,
Yep.
and they're 3 different pictures. They're laid out similarly,
Yep.
but obviously talking about different services.
Yep.
And it says we provide a starting price, so like starting from here,
Yep.
and it goes up.
Yeah, and see, like this isn't even a discount. This is more like a branding thing, right?
Right.
We're getting our brand out there in front of people and telling them what our starting prices are for these services. This is not advertising a discount. And I think a lot of people too kind of have that thought in their head where like, if I do an ad, I have to do some sort of discount or a deal to do an ad. It's like, no,
No.
you don't. You
Yeah.
just advertise your business. You don't have to do any deal.
Yep.
And that's what these ads do.
Well, so we have 3 different services with 3 different ads. You're paying separately for each of these ads. So you're making 3 separate payments for all 3 of those ads. Why not combine them in one? Why not make it just if you're spending whatever it is, $100 a week, let's say, for example, on each one of those ads. That's
So you're saying
$300.
why aren't the 3 pictures in
Yeah,
one
why
ad?
doesn't it say PPF ceramic coating and window tint all on one image?
It's
And
too much.
Too much.
Yep. Too much information. It's people don't have the time, the mental capacity to read all that in one go. They're scrolling and you're trying to catch attention. You gotta have big words that are catchy. And then also if you try to do like multiple pictures where they have to like scroll through the pictures or whatever, they ain't gonna work. It's gotta be big, blam, right in their face. And it's how it's gotta be.
Makes sense.
Yep.
Have you tried anything recent with marketing? Have you done? Are we trying anything new? Something you maybe haven't done before?
So the way that we've been doing marketing now with Google AdWords, I'll tell you nothing's changed. That's been the same. Like the ads that we're running today on Google are the same ads we've been running for like the past 3 or 4 years.
Yeah.
Like it has not changed, not a single thing. We just keep running it. We monitor it. If something seems weird, like there was one time where we started getting a lot of ad clicks, and we're noticing why is our ad clicks way higher than usual, and it's not matching up with the ratio of booked deals that we are getting. So we knew that something is getting more attention than what it used to be, and we found out it was ClearBrawl, which is weird because that's how people used to reference PPF back in the day was ClearBrawl, but now people know it as PPF.
Yeah.
And so it's like now people aren't really searching for ClearBrawl anymore, and so we found that the people that were searching for clear bra were actually people looking for clear bras.
Right. Isn't that funny? Isn't that funny? Yeah.
Which is weird, really weird. And they were like, well, how do you know that? Well, Google gives you a bunch of analytics. They tell you exactly what links they were trying to pull up, what their history basically was of what they're trying to search for, to understand like was your search relevant, was your company relevant to what they were actually searching for, kind
Right.
of thing. It gives you a bunch of analytics, and that's how we can kind of
And
find
you
it out.
figured out that a clear bra, what used to
Yeah.
work for what we needed to be,
Yeah.
is now actually the literal clear bra.
Yeah, so we removed that from our keywords, and now it doesn't affect us. Our click rate dropped back down. That means the money that we spent came down, but our book ratio stayed the same, and so it made that ratio better. We're back to where it was.
Yeah. So what? Okay. So Google's the same. You're not touching that. You just monitor the keywords, making sure you're up to
That's
date with.
essentially how it's set it and forget it. Essentially,
Yep.
once you know that it works, it takes a
Yeah.
while. It does
And,
take a
and,
lot of work.
and then you're like you said, you're monitoring, making
Yeah,
sure the keywords are up to date with what the new whatever it is that people type in to
yeah,
get to you.
yes.
But what are you trying to do? Are you trying anything new, or is there anything we're doing that's maybe different than you haven't done in the past? Or are you kind of already found your?
No, I think I found what works best for us. I'll tell you something too that I think is a waste of money, but it's not a waste of money at the same time if you do it right. So I'm gonna give you an example. I think billboards are a complete waste of money. If you go out and buy one billboard, waste of money. Two billboards, waste of money, right? Where I think that buying billboards is something that is beneficial, and this is something that I would be interested in doing ourselves as a company, if our ad budget were to allow
Is
for it.
just buy every billboard.
If you drive around town and you see like there's companies like a roofing company, there's like an air conditioning company, and they have like probably 50 billboards across the city. Everywhere you go and you see a billboard, you see their name up there, and it's like it's everywhere. So it's hard to miss. And it's like those are the names that I think of now when I like if I look at it for a
Sticks.
roof, now I remember their logo because they're all over the freaking place.
Isn't it like if you see the same
Oh, sorry,
logo?
I'm gonna interrupt you
Yeah.
here. So, Executive Homes is one here in Tulsa, and they had Executive Homes billboards all over the place.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
now own an Executive Home because that's truly how I heard about them. Was like, man, they're all over the place. Let's look at some of their houses, and
Right.
sure enough, they were pretty nice.
Yeah,
And
it
now we have
gets
one.
people to call and gets people interested.
So that's the only time it's worth money is if you can afford like 50 billboards across your city.
Yeah, well, what's the? I think there's some kind of thing about it where if you see the same logo, like you have to see it 6 different times, or what is it? Do you know what that is? Where if you see the same logo pop up in front of you like 8 different times.
Were you here
it's-
like 10 minutes ago?
Oh, is that what you're discussing? Did you hit it? What was the number?
Yeah, 7 times.
Oh, 7 times. Okay.
Yeah, that's what I was saying on social media. Like with our constant ads that are floating around,
Okay.
you have to see somebody's logo 7 times scientifically. I
Right.
guess
Right.
that's
It
what
was
they
7.
figured
Yeah.
out for them to like remember that logo.
Gotcha. No, I just walked in actually. I was running a little late.
Oh, okay. Sorry
Yeah, I
about
was just
that.
running a
Yeah.
little late.
Okay.
Well, okay, let me ask this. So, because, for the people who have businesses and don't run ads, they just go off of word of mouth, which probably takes you so far. I mean, depending on what you're doing, it's kind of how much money are you spending every month on ads? Like, I mean, this is like real money. People
Yeah.
have to make a decision for people who haven't spent money on ads before. Now have to
So-
realize I have to spend X amount. That's money
Here's
you're not
here's
getting
the
back.
great deal about ads. Is that it's completely customizable. You are in control of how much you spend. These platforms allow you to set a budget. You can set a daily budget. You can set a weekly budget, a monthly budget. If you don't want to spend more than $20 a day on an ad, you don't have to. You can set these numbers within these platforms. All platforms have it, from what I've found anyway. And so you can adjust it to whatever you can afford. Now, obviously, the way that ads work is that these platforms are going to put the highest bidder, the person paying the most money, at the top. And they're going to, like Google, they put usually 3 ads at the top, and that's their top 3. And so there might be 10 people trying to pay for ads to get in that top 3, but only the people willing to pay the most is going to be in those top 3.
So are those other 7 wasting their money?
They're not spending anything because they're not pulling up.
Right, because Google works differently than. Well, no, I mean
It works
it's the
on
same way.
bids. You're basically bidding for a click, right?
Right.
So if somebody else is bidding $1 for a click and I'm bidding $3, I'm willing to pay more for that click. Google's going to put me up there above them.
And so if you're not at the top and you're not getting clicks, you're not really spending money. You're kind of just wasting your time.
Yeah, it's one of those things where it's like the more money you start getting, the bigger the system can get, the more
Right.
money you can really throw at it.
Right.
And that's why a lot of these like big players, like White Glove for instance, can take so much real estate on Google because we have so much more money to throw into it than
Right.
somebody who's just starting out.
So, but for the people starting out though, because that is a thing. There's plenty of people who haven't done any marketing.
Yeah.
Um,
It takes a while. The people think that running ads is going to flip a switch overnight. It's not.
it's not,
It takes a while to build this up. And again, for me, and when I started running Google ads early on in the day, it really didn't start taking effect for me until like 3 or 4 years in. But again, that was also because I didn't really know what I was doing until about 3 or 4 years in.
Yeah.
If you talk to the right people and you understand what you're doing, you can get to it probably within a year.
Yeah, I think that's the big thing there, right? People who haven't done ads are like, okay, well, yeah, I mean, I'm getting some work coming in from word of mouth or whatever it is,
Yeah.
and they might feel comfortable, but they want to grow. But it's like it's a big thing, isn't it? Because people are like, I don't want to spend $1,000 a month or even 500 if it's gonna go to if
Well,
it's more like a mental thing, right? Because it's like you're spending all this money every month, and there's no guarantee you're gonna get
yeah.
work. It's kind of a risk you have to take, right? I
It
mean,
is. It is definitely a risk that you have to take. And again, it's one of those things you have to pay attention to. It's not something you can just set an ad and forget it. You do have to pay attention to it. And you have to baby it for a while until you know it's working. And it's a commitment you just have to make as a business, because if you're questioning, like, why would I want to spend $1,000 on ads when I get plenty of word of mouth? Well, it's like, do you want to grow or do you not want to grow? Word
yeah.
of mouth is great. It's great advertisement, don't get me wrong, but it's not going to get you to grow. Like, it will, it's just very slow. If you want to really grow and you really want to push those numbers up, you have to advertise to people who are not actually looking for you at the moment, and you're putting your brand in front of them.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. Because I mean, yeah, to me, right, it definitely it's like if you don't spend the money, you're not going to get that additional work, and that may
Yeah.
take time to get there. So like you'll be paid back if you're doing it correctly, if you're making the right ads, if you're babying it like you said,
Yeah.
you will get paid that money back, and
Yeah.
hopefully way
Yeah,
more than that.
and
Right?
it's going to be slow at the beginning, like I said. But now, like, again, I'm going to restate this. We're paying about $4,000 to $5,000 a month on Google ads, just Google ads. We're doing actually, between Clearview and White Glove, we're doing roughly like $225,000 a month in revenue. Okay, and about 75 to 80% of our clientele is coming from Google. Okay, so that's paying off. I'm spending $4,000 to $5,000 and getting almost $250,000 a month.
From 80% or roughly 80% of those coming from that platform that you're
Yes.
spending that money on.
Yes.
So,
That's huge. Was it like that in the beginning? No. In the beginning, I was spending like, $500 to $1,000 and maybe getting a couple customers from it. But, again, you can't look at it that way.
even though that's not even bad. Like you're
No.
spending $1,000 in a month on ads.
Yeah.
If you sell a full front PPF package
Yeah.
to a customer, you're like twice that cost.
I'm
already.
telling, even if you break even, it's still worth it. Even if you lose money for like a little while, it's still worth it. You have to be consistent. Ads are one of those things where you have to be consistent. It's not going to work if you're like, oh, I'm going to do it for 3 months and I'm going to pause it.
Is that because the same people who are seeing these ads, maybe the first time they see it, they'll just swipe right past it?
No, it's these ad platforms. They understand consistency. And so it's like they're not going to want to, it's another one of those things where they're not going to want to push you as hard if they think you're just going to stop your ad again in a couple of months.
And you're referring to like Facebook and Instagram
Yeah, and Google.
and Google, yeah.
Yeah.
So that's really how it works, huh? Then so
Yeah.
you push out your ad, even if you're like don't be worried about it. Just
Yeah.
stay
The
consistent.
platforms want consistency. You have to be consistent. You just need to put in your mind, like, hey, I'm for sure wanting to spend $1,000 a month on marketing. Write that $1,000 off out of your mind every month and don't even think about it. Don't feel bad about it. Don't like regret it.
Don't be
It's going to pay off. Just give it time.
just don't be discouraged.
Yes. Don't be
For it.
discouraged.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
What about branding, right? People like always, people always think, okay, I'm gonna get a bunch of hats and T-shirts and water bottles and stuff. Oh, I'm gonna get my logo everywhere I possibly can.
Yeah.
How much does branding tie into marketing?
That's all great, right? Branding is great. Branding is your image. You want to have great branding because the better your branding is, the better your image looks, the more appealing it looks to people whenever you market it, right? Branding is essentially your company's image, and marketing is you pushing that image in front of people. Okay? But there's a line to draw there, because if you're just starting, you don't need to go buy pins and hats and shirts and notepads and whatever else. You don't need to do all that BS. Like, a lot of that is just like, just stop doing that. Just get some like couple shirts made or whatever and wear them yourself. Make sure you wear them in your videos whenever you make them. Look branded. Anytime you're working in the shop, make sure your employees are branded. That is branding, and you got to build on that over time. I'll tell you right now, it's like I'm 12 years into business, and we have branded T-shirts or branded polos essentially, and we have branded pins.
And hats.
Yes, but we don't sell them.
No, no,
It's
no.
just for it's
This
just for
is
the
yeah,
team, right?
yeah. It's the teams, the stuff where team
Right,
wears.
and that's it.
Yeah, really, that's all it is. And I guess when customers come by, they'll sign they'll sign a signature on their invoice,
Yep,
and we'll be like, hey, keep the pen.
yep.
So that's really all. Yeah, we don't even do we don't have a whole merch line right now
No,
out to sell to
I
people.
think
And
that stuff is great to do whenever you have the money to do it,
yeah.
but it's not going to get you money in the early game. It's just a
So it should
waste.
not be someone starting a business, someone maybe the first year of business trying to get going.
Yeah.
Don't spend money on branding. But if you get big enough where you have the capital to spend on it, it ties into your
See,
marketing.
here's the thing: is for White Glove, the way that we did it, right? We tried to have a good logo. We tried to make sure our shop was always clean. It looked great, right? That's our branding. Just a clean shop, that's branding. That's how people come in, they see your image. So it's not just about having your logo on something, it's about how you appear to people, right? You want to make sure your appearance is high end. And that's what people are going to want to really pay attention to, especially in your marketing videos when they walk into your shop. That is all branding.
Yeah, no, that makes sense.
Yeah.
It's kind of how you show off that logo, right?
Yeah.
Because you got the logo on your door or on your building.
Yeah.
Then you walk in and you get that experience.
Yeah. I mean, you can have a super nice looking building, you can have a nice logo, and then somebody walks into your shop and it's trashed out. That instantly tanks your branding on the outside of the building. That no longer matters.
Yeah, it's got to be consistent.
Yeah, you have to have consistent branding throughout. And I will tell you that with White Glove, I had that consistent branding where we had a pretty nice looking logo. I tried to make nice posts on social media. The shop was always clean. I always tried to make sure our stuff was consistent on social media. And I eventually started getting questions from customers when they were coming in and be like, man, is this a franchise? Like, no, it's not a franchise. They're like, really? It's like coming in and like their towels are folded on the shelf and chemicals are faced on the shelves and things are labeled and you have your nice menus up. And I just assumed it was a franchise.
Yeah,
Like,
and also
no,
if you have a
it's
shop and you're making a video for an ad for that you're going to market, make sure like the background of the video is clean too, right?
yeah,
Like again, it's all part of it.
yeah. Don't have trash laying around and all that. That's part of your
Yeah,
branding exactly.
when you make reels, when you make videos,
And
make sure
something that
things are
I
clean.
just brought up is something I want to mention as well is like how small, like how detailed do you get in your branding? And I mentioned towels, right? How many shops out there just they use towels, they wash them, they throw them in a bucket, and then they pull out of the bucket as they need them throughout the day, right? At White Glove, we actually have towel cabinets, and we have different colors for different things that we use the towels for, and then we wash them as they get dirty throughout the day, and we actually spend time as a team folding each towel and then we put them back on the shelf, stacked nice and neat. It's almost like you went in Bed Bath Beyond and you went to their towel section. You see all the towels just stacked up. That's essentially what it looks like on our shelves.
Yeah,
That image versus somebody walking into your shop and your towels are just sitting in a bucket, that right there already puts you at a higher level than that shop.
especially when you demand more money than the shop next to you,
Yeah,
people have to see the worth in that.
yeah,
Okay, I'm spending more, but I'm walking into the shop and it's like super clean. They're, the videos that I saw them online on their ads look super clean. I walk in and it's truly that. It's not just all done up for the video. So that makes a difference.
yes, for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
So anyway, obviously it's a lot to take in. There's a lot about ads there, but I think one of the biggest things is understanding what not to waste your money on in the beginning because I did that in the beginning. I wasted so much money. And that is one of the reasons why today I'm still in some sort of like a financial like stress point and I'm trying to get through it in my company right now. And that is something I don't want anybody else to have to go through. And you can avoid that by just not spending money on dumb shit like that and just listen to what we say in this podcast. And if you have any questions, just reach out. We're happy to talk to you guys and give you more insight on things if we need to.
Yep. Yeah. I think, again, if you don't know any better, you're kind of susceptible to these issues
Yeah,
and these mistakes, right? I mean,
yeah,
I mean, you went through it.
yeah,
You didn't know any better. You were like, oh, this sounds like a great idea. I'm going to spend the money. It's going to bring me a
yeah.
bunch of
I
business.
didn't know any better. I didn't know anybody to talk to. I didn't have any business owner friends. I didn't know anybody in the car industry. It was just all new to me. And so, yeah, I was testing the waters on everything and just seeing what worked.
That's a good point too you made, because if you are a business owner and you're starting out, maybe you're not even starting, maybe you've been around for a while, but you haven't really spent any money on marketing. It's like, talk to people who are also business owners, talk to
Yeah,
people in your industry, ask them questions, what works for them, or just reach
yeah.
out to us and we'll help you out.
Now, let me ask you this and
Yeah.
just see if you know this.
Okay.
Do you know what the most hated platform is for reviews amongst all business owners?
The most hated
I say
platform.
all business owners, majority of business owners. What is the most hated platform?
Hated in the sense that they hate it because it doesn't work it doesn't work. Like
Yes.
Yelp,
Yeah, you got it right on the first guess. Yelp is absolute
Yellow
garbage.
Pages. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah,
Yelp.
Yelp is absolute garbage. And, I'm going to call Yelp out because I've dealt with Yelp myself. And early on, they pulled me into their game. They are consistent. They will blow up your phone. They will get you on their program. They'll do whatever they can to do that. Okay, so I fell for the trap. I signed on with Yelp, and then what they do is they make sure you have a nice listing and it looks good and everything. And okay, now a customer leaves a review. Well, I'll tell you right now, I had like, I don't know, I want to say like 10 or 12 like 5-star reviews on there. Well, what does Yelp do? Yelp moves all of my 5-star reviews into a not recommended section where you can't even see it. There's a like little fine print wording that you have to click on in order to see those reviews, but they are not calculated into your main star at all, into your like your 5.0 rating or whatever it is. It's just it doesn't count towards that. It's in a separate section and it's a little fine print that you have to click on to see those reviews. And the 2 bad reviews I got that were 1 star were the ones that stuck, and that was like the main profile of my business. And why does Yelp do that? I don't know. I don't understand what the marketing is, how they're like. Obviously, it benefits them in some way to do that. But every business owner out there, you can look anytime Yelp does an ad on on social media. I always look at the comments, and
Mm-hmm.
everybody's just trashing Yelp constantly because that's the reality. Every business owner knows that Yelp is out to screw you, and I mean, you know. I personally hope Yelp goes out of business. I mean, that's my biggest thing. I mean, I don't want to say that about any business, but Yelp, I think, absolutely needs to go down the drain.
Yelp,
Never, never do Yelp. Ever do Yelp. Never. Don't even make a profile on there. Period.
Yelp, more like Whelp.
Yeah.
You guys like my new soundboard? I, it's a work in progress. We're working on it. We're gonna add some more stuff. You guys like it? All right. Yeah. So, what else do you want to add for marketing? What else is important for someone with a business to?
Listen, if you're just starting out, or if you're early in the game, or maybe you're new to marketing, don't jump into the deep end. Just start out small. It's easy. Just go on to social media. Whenever like you go to a Meta and you try to go in your business suite and you make an ad, it's pretty self-explanatory. Social media is a pretty easy platform or Meta is a pretty easy platform to run an ad on and understand how to do it properly. It's Google that's the one that's difficult and that can burn you and that you need to talk to somebody about um, and to ensure that it's working efficiently for you. But again, you just start out small budgets. Don't overextend yourself because I think that's what a lot of people do is they overextend themselves. They're pissed they spend all that money and they didn't get anything out of it, and then just stop doing it altogether. Set a low budget and then just start stacking on that over time, and it will come around. But it's not going to just flip overnight and you're just going to be flooded with business. That's not how it works.
It's good advice.
Yep.
So, no.
So anyway, I think that's pretty much it for marketing. Do you have any questions for me on?
None more than I've already asked. No, it makes sense. I think we covered a good portion of marketing.
Okay.
Yeah,
So, what I can tell you guys is, I really want to hear from you guys that are watching this. I really, and Mitch does too. This is a new podcast. We want to be able to help you guys that own shops or are running shops or the operators or whatever. And we want to be of benefit to you guys. And so we want to hear from you guys, answer your questions. You can submit questions to us via our social medias. We are on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. We're on YouTube. Leave a comment. Send us a DM. Send us an email at theoperatorstable@gmail.com. There's many ways to reach out to us and give us a question. We would love to answer your question in our next show. So please leave us those
for sure.
questions, man,
Yeah, reach
because
out, reach out.
yeah, I think that's going to be beneficial. We want to help you guys, so just do that. We can make a whole segment on answering people's questions. Um, and aside from that, I mean, we would really appreciate if you like and subscribe and share this podcast and share this with at least one business owner out there that could benefit from this. So share to one business owner, and that would be greatly appreciated. It's really going to push us out there. It's really going to help us out a lot. And but for now, I can just say that's another show in the books.
Absolutely, guys. We appreciate you guys listening. We will see you next week. We hope you enjoyed. And remember, if it's not working, it's probably on you.